The following is an Outdoor Channel original production.
Tonight, you will hear a bear of a case, followed by the comical tale of a decoy deer gone wrong. My name is Randy Nelson, and in my 35-year career as a fishery officer, I became known as the best investigator in British Columbia.
Just leave him out here to rot.
As a best-selling author, I've contacted hundreds of wardens from all over North America to hear their tales.
Fish and wildlife here.
See this? Oh, look at there.
We have a warrant to search your premises.
They're spotlighting.
These are their case files.
Game warden, put your guns on the ground.
Officer down.
You're under arrest.
So, Kip, this international bear poaching story that you were involved in, it started by some very good work from a state trooper in Alaska, and then the U.S. Fish and Wildlife got involved, and they got this very complicated file going, and then they tied into residents from Alberta, and that's where you jumped in to take over that part of the investigation.
Yeah, that's right. It started pretty simply with that state trooper being switched on and knowing what's going on. This wildlife trooper was finding the outfitter with bear bait in the back of his truck. That outfitter had had a previous charge for baiting bears, so he was watching for that.
Right.
And so, but then those bears are all shot by, some Alberta hunters,
yes,
a bunch of Alberta hunters, and then got exported internationally back to Canada. So now you have a bear that's been unlawfully harvested,
yes,
by using bait, which is like cheating.
Yes.
Right? These bears come back to these baits for years and years in a row.
Yeah.
They're habituated to coming to that bait, and so it's easy versus searching around the forest for a random bear. So then these bears are shot illegally, which makes them illegal in and of themselves.
right.
Then once they are exported to Canada, they're still illegal, right? So now they're Canadian in Canada and illegal.
And that's where you
harvested.
became involved to address those Canadians.
That's where we get involved with our legislation, which allows us to investigate and charge these Canadian individuals for harvesting illegally in Alaska.
And on the Canadian side, that grew into a complicated case on its own with multiple people.
Absolutely, yeah. We charged almost 20 guys for these illegal activities that happened in Alaska. They all went to Alaska at a certain time,
yes,
and did their hunt and then came home. So we treated that as one file, but it's all through the same outfitter, so it's all part of the same umbrella.
Right.
And it wasn't just baiting bears, like they were wasting the black bear meat.
Yeah.
They were illegally guiding
Airplanes.
using airplanes illegally. They were falsifying paperwork, not buying licenses till after they shoot some of the bears or goats.
So how many people in Alberta did you end up charging, and how much help did you need for this?
Well, like I said, we charged almost 20 guys, and we needed a lot of help. It all came down to one specific day, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We did door knocks on, so many houses internationally.
Yes.
In the U.S. as well, at the same time, exact same time, we were knocking on doors. So in Alberta, we had 45 officers on that day.
On the same day.
Knocking on different houses, and I was at a search warrant at a taxidermist.
That was your role?
That was my role on that day, to go to that search warrant.
So take me through that event.
So, you knock on this taxidermist shop's door, and we have a search warrant to go in, authorized by a judge to go in and search for the items that we had listed that we knew were there. Right, and we get that information from the province because taxidermists are provincially regulated, so they have to submit information. So we go in, and I'm greeted at the door by a big burly hunter taxidermist guy.
What do you want?
Hello, Fish and Wildlife here.
What do you want?
Well, we've got a search warrant to take a look at your place, and you mind if we come on in?
he wasn't terribly welcoming. You can imagine, you know, it's an infringement on his taxidermy shop. He didn't want to let us come in, but we have authority to do so.
I guess. Nothing else I can do about it.
He didn't want to let us search inside, and I asked him a question, is there anybody else in the shop? And he's like, why do you want to know? And I'm like, well, it's for our safety and yours, and it's important to us to know if there's anybody else here.
What is it that you want?
Well, we have some reason to believe that you have some animals of interest to us, and how about this? Why don't you just take a seat and keep your hands where we can see them, all right?
Still haven't told me what it is that you need.
Brown bears from Alaska.
So he wasn't really being real
He
cooperative.
wasn't being overly cooperative at all. And, you know, he saw my name on my chest, and he started calling me Derksy.
Whatever, Derksy.
All right, let's get started.
So after the unwelcome reception you got, you get inside and you start looking around. What do you find that shouldn't be there?
Well, we kind of knew what we were looking for. You know, it's a taxidermist shop, so they'll have a bunch of freezers and places where he does taxidermy work on bears. And we found bears wrapped up in bags, you know, just the hides.
Matching
in the
what
freezer,
you were looking for?
Matching the ones that we were looking for. And one was on a salt rack where he's, you know, fleshing out the hide and doing his taxidermy work on it. So we seized a number of bear hides.
We found several bear hides that we know were taken illegally. We're gonna seize these 4 bears, their meat, their hides, and their skulls.
Derksy, if you weren't wearing that belt, I'd go you right now.
And I'm like, go me. I kind of pretended like I didn't know what that meant. But I said, what are you talking about? What do you mean you want to go me? Like, there's 10 of us or whatever it was here. Like,
That's not too...
It's not in your favor.
So those threats, like something else happened after the fact?
So I get a call. I'm at home. I get a call from a number I don't recognize on my cell phone, and I answer it. And sure enough, it's him. And he's like, you know, Derksy, he's like, you know, I'm sorry for telling you I wanted to go you. And I'm like, okay, well, that's nice. Thanks for the apology. And then he goes, you know, but I'd still take you out behind the barn if I could. And I'm like, you know, I grew up on a farm with a barn, and the things that went behind the barn never came back. So I was like, you know what, you went from threatening to fight me to threatening to kill me. And
Apologize for one.
Apologize. Like, I didn't quite understand how that worked as an apology.
So,
but
how did that conversation end?
well, it ended up with me hanging up on him because he likes to talk, and he just kept going, and I didn't need to listen to it.
So how many items, how many hides, heads, what did you seize in that search that day?
Well, I think it was, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was about 4 full bear hides and skulls, right?
Okay.
The skulls are frozen and, you know, waiting to be boiled up and cleaned out, fleshed out. And then the hides are also frozen. They've been fleshed out and cleaned and waiting to be put on a form, right?
Right.
Most of these bears were going to be fully mounted. And one of them was in the process of being fully mounted onto a form, into a full mount bear hide.
So how are you tying these bear hides to this investigation? Are they tagged? Are they?
They're all tagged at the taxidermy shop. So they have, you know, they're required to keep very specific records. So each hide had a tag on it. It also had an Alaska seal. They call them seals. It's like a little zip tie with a specific number, the hunter's number on that tag, that matched the numbers to the licenses that these hunters had in Alaska.
How do you put this all together and end up charging people? What other things happen?
Well, you know, after you get the physical evidence, we really wanted to tie the story together, and there was really only one guy that was involved that saw a lot or most of what happened out there. There was really only one guy that was involved that saw a lot or most of what happened out there.
You've agreed to this proffer agreement in exchange for some information. Now let's start at the beginning, and you tell us about the first time you used bait to illegally harvest a bear.
Well, the first time we baited, I was new to the outfitter. I had trained on a few hunts, but I hadn't realized what the other guides were doing until they trained me. We set the bait, and the clients wait for a bear to show up.
About how many clients would you say did this?
No, too many to count. People from all over the world would fly to our outfit to shoot them a bear. They were almost always guaranteed a successful hunt.
You've been told not to talk to us today.
Not in those exact words, but yes. It was definitely understood that this was illegal and that we shouldn't be talking about it. But the clients who scheduled these hunts knew what they were getting involved in. That's why they came to us.
So he gave us a statement about this thick worth of paper, going through all the stories of all the guys that came from all over the world.
Key information to tie it all together.
Information to tie it all together, telling the whole story of each one. And it, just tied in the pieces that, some places we were missing or didn't understand. So we put a file together, a major case file. We had 13 ARC boxes full of paperwork.
By an ARC box, you mean like a file box?
Like a banker box.
Okay.
We had 13 of those worth of documents that we submitted to Crown. So it took them a long time to go through all that. Yeah. And we were recommended a lot of charges, and we got those, and I laid charges on almost 20 individuals.
So you end up with this multitude of charges in Canada and more in the States. And
yes.
Going through the court system. So what was forfeited? What are some of the details of the outcomes?
Well, it played out over years, and it took more than 50 officers in Alberta, including, provincial Fish and Wildlife and us. And, in Alaska, more agencies, there's probably about 10 different agencies. We ended up with, over $300,000 in fines. Right. Over 30 animals were forfeited in Alberta. Multitudes of years of prohibitions on things like hunting, outfitting, possessing firearms, those sort of things, some suspended jail sentences as well in Alaska. I had one trial that was 21 days long in Alaska that I had to go to. Wow. Some of these individuals, unfortunately, a lot of these guys have a lot of money to spend, right? If
money buys you lawyers.
Exactly.
Tell me your emotion. I know what I feel sometimes when you catch these poachers. I equate it to like stalking a big whitetail. Yes. I don't know. You get the same. Tell me how you feel when you encounter something like this.
Well, it's a rush to chase after a prey, right? Yeah. And that's our job. Our job is to go after the poachers. We're protecting the environment in the way that we're allowed to do and are required to do under our legislation. And it's exciting. And we get into this job, most of us get into this job because we are hunters and fishermen, and we enjoy nature, and we love being outside, and we love and appreciate the hunting and fishing. And so it's, chasing a different kind of prey that is affecting the things that we love and are passionate for. And, I'm a game warden, and I hope it's not a dying breed, but I'm a game warden at heart, and that means something to me. It's a passion. It's a career that's more than just a job to me. And there's a lot of game wardens out there that love doing this work. And so I am very happy I built a career out of this work.
And so are a lot of wildlife. Thanks for doing what you do.
You bet. No problem.
Carlos, every game warden has a good deer decoy story, and you have one that took some really bizarre twists.
Every game warden that's worked decoy deer operations know where in their county the best spot is to set a decoy up. And we get calls from hunters all the time, right? Saying, hey, would you bring that decoy and set it up over here? Set it up over there. So you've got all this multiple choice. Where can you put your resources, your time and your decoy setup? It takes a number of people to run that operation. And So I had this one particular road in my county known as Peanut Road. And Peanut Road was a road that, a long stretch of woods on both sides of the road. So we knew it was a road fraught with some criminal activity and would be a good place for a decoy.
Really think this is gonna work? Really think this is gonna work?
One of the first things I learned, never overestimate the intelligence of a poacher. You take the east road, I'll go south.
Sounds good.
So when people are driving, their eyes are naturally drawn one direction or the other.
You'll see the deer if you drive by.
You'll see the deer if you drive by. You're either a good guy or a bad guy, but you'll see the deer. And we're on the safe side, so they're not shooting towards us, they're shooting away from us.
Right.
And we had spread ourselves about 50 yards apart. We knew that we wanted to try to encounter the hunters when they were either coming eastbound or westbound.
Right.
We needed a guy to be in front and a guy to be behind.
So you can box them in and
So
go
we
in.
can box them in. And that was our plan was, you know, when they start to shoot, we'll make our approach and encounter the hunters from both ends so that we've got them, as you say, boxed in. Well, we were in position and a car was coming down the road real slow. It's a gravel road. You can hear the tires popping on gravel and you can tell they're coming slow. And we know immediately that that's not somebody just sightseeing for birds. When they are driving real slow, opening day gun season, they're looking for something to shoot, and they're on Peanut Road of all things. So we're on point, ready for action.
And you said it was open season, so
It was regular gun season.
so what would be wrong with?
It's against the law to shoot from cars, to hunt from cars, and hunt from the public roadways. You have to be on the other side of a barbed wire fence or the other side of the ditch so that you're on the field property, not on the road.
So the car's coming to
roadway.
a stop.
And of course, we're on walkie-talkie to each other.
Truck just passed by.
Copy that. I see the dust trail.
And I knew that, you know, the hook is about to get set. And when that vehicle came to a stop, both car doors fly open.
Get him. Take it. Get him. Clean shot. Take the shot.
This guy is just, you know, 20, 30 feet in front of me. And he's loading a rifle with bullets.
These guys are nuts.
And it's a lever action rifle, and he's just feeding it with bullet after bullet after bullet. And the deer is right there, you know, 100 yards away across the pond, and I guess he thinks the deer is just standing there.
Get him.
Well, about that time, the driver from the door jam starts yelling, "Car's coming, car's coming."
Hold on. I hear something. I think it's a car.
And immediately the guy at the trunk starts chicka, 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 chicka. He's just kicking bullets out ever as fast as he can with this lever action. And about that time, the pickup truck comes to a stop.
It's a truck. It's a truck, man.
The driver gets out and walks in front of his truck, and he's got a rifle, and he's loading bullets in his rifle. Now, the guy with the pickup, he's looking at the car, and he's looking at the deer, and he's loading bullets. And the lookout from the car door jam, he says, "He's gonna shoot your deer. You better hurry up. He's gonna shoot your deer."
It's a hunter. It's a hunter. He's gonna get your deer. Take the shot. Come on, man. Come on. Shoot. What are you doing?
All this yelling's going on. Of course, the deer's still standing there, you know, checking his watch, wondering, you know, is anybody ever gonna hunt me? So these guys are oblivious to the fact that that's a fake deer standing over there. But immediately, this guy's picking bullets off the ground out of the trunk, and he's trying to fill his gun full of bullets again.
Come on. He's gonna get it. He's gonna get your deer. Take it. Take your shot.
And he's looking, and they both work their way to the bar ditch and look at each other, and it's a race.
Are you seeing this?
Let's get him before they hurt someone or shoot each other.
Hey, game warden, put your guns on the ground. You, put your rifle on the ground.
It was hilarious to see how their mouths just dropped open. Their brains couldn't comprehend everything that had just happened and that here we were.
They'd be thinking each other had ratted out or were game wardens, and
I don't know.
who knows?
And you know, of course, we had those guys wrapped up and we had them pulled to the side of the road, and we were issuing citations to them. As we were finishing those guys up, there were other vehicles coming by slowly, and you could see them looking at the decoy, and then they'd look over here at these guys getting tickets, and then they just kind of hunker their head and just creep on down the road, you know.
He should have just set up a drive-by booth and handed out tickets.
If we could get somehow a system that was faster, that's what we like to do, is get them out of the way so we could issue more. But we missed a few, but they got an education.
You got 2 for the price of 1 on that decoy setup. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. It was a speed loading competition.
You really think this is going to work?
Sorry. My bad. I was trying to save it. It was gonna fall regardless. Sorry about that.